Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Rachel John's bookstore tours. I'm delighted today to have with me Libby from the Beachside Bookshop in Avalon. Here she is. Hi Libby, thanks for joining me.
Hi Rachel. Oh, this is so exciting. It almost feels like you're here.
I wish I was.
And you will
one
be,
day.
hopefully. I mean, we got Tess Woods in here a couple of years ago, so I know anything's possible.
Oh, definitely. I love Tess. We're very good friends. So, and I definitely would like to get back to not WA, that's here, New South Wales.
That's right.
Maybe by next year. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
We're all having to be a bit flexible at the moment, aren't we?
Yes, which is so great. This technology and your virtual bookshop ideas are fantastic. Fantastic
thank
way for
you.
all of us to connect.
Well, I must admit, I did steal it from a US author called Brenda Novak, but you know, I thought it was a great idea, and the best ideas are sometimes worth stealing. Anyway, I would just love to if you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about the bookshop.
Of course. So, book selling's always been in my blood. I'm a second-generation bookseller. My mother was a bookseller at the Children's Bookshop in Beecroft when I was growing up, and we only lived 50 metres up the road. So,
wow.
I know, like that was my dream from a very early age. But the thing that fascinated me the most was just all this magical stuff that would happen when someone would come in for a recommendation and always got like the perfect book to take home with them. And I just thought that's such a special, magical thing to do. And I knew that when I grew up, after all those jobs I'd worked in bookselling myself, from my first job at 16, working for a stationer and a bookseller, and then managing a bookshop in Mossam in my 20s, is that I wanted to create with our own bookshop here at Beachside to make that experience of buying books as fun as it is to read them. So
that's a great mission statement.
Lots of fun.
I love it. And I did notice on your website that you said your mother worked in books too. So I'm guessing that you have had books around you at home from basically as long as you can remember as well.
And so Mum probably never earned any money because she just put it all straight back into the business of books. That's right.
That's the same thing. How many books? Because I actually worked in a bookshop myself a couple of years ago. After being published, and we used to have a supermarket in the country, and that was where we were when I was first published, and I was busy work. It's like having a business, and I was also writing, and also had 3 young kids. And I actually got a lot more work done when I was working in our supermarket. So when we came back to Perth and I was in my office by myself all the time, I actually suddenly, my output of work sort of went down. And I love the connection, exactly what you said about talking to people about books, the customer service that you just don't get in, your department stores that sell books. It's new. And so I really missed that. And so when a bookshop opened near me and I happened to know the manager, I said, "Can I have a job?" And she's like, "Really? You want a job?" I said, "Yeah, just like one day a week or something." And it was a magical place to work. But I think exactly what you said, I spent all my pay on the books because, you'd be unpacking boxes of books.
You're the best customer. That's the thing. Booksellers are the best customers of any bookshop. So
exactly. And you get to read books ahead of other people too, which is a good perk, isn't it?
That's right.
So how long have you had Beachside Bookshop?
So we've been open almost 5.5 years, and we started off in the small shop that Tess came to visit us in the back, and we moved into the front shop, which is right on the main street, which is why it's a bit noisier.
Awesome.
But everyone knows it's here now. We did that at the end of November, and we were all ready just to be locked down at Christmas for 3 weeks.
I know. I saw on your Instagram page that, this is part of the world we're living in at the moment. But I was actually going to ask you, I saw that you were doing curbside delivery and everything. So how did your business go through that whole scary lockdown period?
It was really a big, genuine thank you to everybody who promoted our business. I mean, everybody who told all their friends about us, all the customers, because it was all locals only, and they just shopped till they dropped, really.
That's awesome.
They kept going. So my then 17-year-old and I were just sort of running around doing deliveries for 3 hours every day, and it was really, it was a special time for both of us. But I think what was really overwhelming was just that community support. And I think when you're in a community village like ours, that's that's the benefit really of doing the jobs that we do.
Definitely. I agree. As I said, from having a small business in a small town, you know, there's nothing, it's a very special thing you do, but books makes it even more special. And I imagine that spending that time with your daughter as well was a really,
that's right. It was
bonding experience. But that is great that, you know, you were supported by the locals and you supported the locals too, because I mean, I think through that when you are actually locked down, you know, books, I know Netflix as well, but hey, we won't talk about that. We want people reading books, not watching TV. But, you know, like jigsaw puzzles, all these things really had a resurgence, didn't they? Because people were suddenly stuck at home now. I mean, I have so many people who said they started reading books again. So, you know, there's upsides of some of these.
Very big upside.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about how you got into the book industry. It sounds like you've basically been in the book industry most of your career, which sounds wonderful. And that obviously you were very much involved growing up in a bookshop. So you were a reader as a child. What kind of books did you enjoy reading as a child?
I was, and I still am, very much a contemporary fiction reader. That's
Yay!
I mean, my mother was a big fantasy reader and still is, and she'd always buy those beautiful first edition, you know, beautiful, because so many kids' books were in hardcover back in the day. But Ruth Park, you know, she to this day is still my, you know, literary idol, because through that connection at the bookshop, I got to meet her. She became a pen pal. Then when I was managing the bookshop in Mossman, she lived in Mossman and she became a customer. So it was very
cool. That is awesome. And I imagine as a child you were just in awe of having an author friend.
I know. And I used to petition. It was just when Beatty Bow had come out and I heard they were making a film, and I would petition her all the time. I wanted to be cast in the film. I really thought.
And you weren't? Were you not put in the film? Not even an extra?
She had no influence, sadly. Anyway.
I know, that's the thing, isn't it? I think people often think that authors have more influence than they do over a lot of things. But, you know, in movies and TV shows, you know, you can often sign away a lot of it. So talking of kids' books and stuff, I've noticed also in your bookshop that you said you specialise in teen and children's fiction. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why you do that?
Well, essentially it started because of mums, you know, and grown up with the children's, like a specialist bookshop as a kid. And having, you know, kids myself, and I just think, especially our YA authors, they work so much harder to grab the attention because they've only got such a short, you know, they have to be short, and it makes all the difference, I think, to then growing a culture of lifelong readers. So I really, big hats off. And I mean, they don't do it for like diamond rings and fur coats. I shouldn't say fur coats. They don't do it for diamond rings because there's really it's really just for love. I think,
definitely.
And passion that they do what they do.
Definitely. There's only very few authors who I think can say that can do it for money. You know, the majority of authors are doing it for love. And I think even if they've got, even J.K. Rowling and people like Stephen King, who obviously now have a lot of money from their books, they did it for love to start with, and they still, if they're still writing books, they're writing for love because they don't need the money now. But I couldn't agree with you more. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say, I think back to my relationship with Ruth Park as a teenager, and that says a lot for authors always. I mean, that she would make time, she would write me these beautiful letters, treat me, you know, but that's what I've seen from all of our authors. I think it's really very special just how much access, and particularly for young kids when you go into the schools and see the authors and the illustrators.
Yes, amazing illustrators.
So special.
I went to Scribblers Writers Festival a couple of years ago, not as a guest, as a mum, that's the kids festival here. And oh my goodness, some of the illustrators, I was like, they have so much talent. I was sitting there thinking, I have no talent.
No, your talent. You've got, as I was saying, what's special is this industry allows all these talents to be shown.
Exactly. And I think, what you were saying about authors, as an author myself, we are just so grateful for readers reading our books. But back on the kids' fiction, because I'm very passionate about that too. I used to be an English teacher. My kids were all read to from pretty much being, you know, in utero and definitely in the hospital. Is your daughter still a reader?
My eldest one, yes. So she's gravitated more to, she's 23 now, so she's gravitated more to nonfiction.
Yep.
which is
It's great
interesting. So
nonfiction
she
out there,
loves
isn't it?
all, all like Helen Garner and Bree Lee and
Yep.
all of the there's some fantastic new nonfiction that
There
she's written
is.
as well. So
I'm a buyer of nonfiction, but not a reader of it that much. Like I want to read it, but I gravitate. So I buy lots of nonfiction because I think, oh, that would be really interesting. But then when I'm actually push comes to shove and I have limited reading time, I always gravitate back to fiction.
Yeah. No, me too. So it's good though, because we have enough people around us that can read everything. So we know.
And I'm guessing in your shop you've got people that, it's good to have special areas that people enjoy. And like I know when I worked in the shop, I was pretty good with the general fiction and the adult fiction. We had other people who, although having 3 kids myself, I was okay on the kids fiction too. But no, nothing about sci-fi and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really interesting. Now you've mentioned that you did an author event with Tess Woods. So do you do? I'm guessing you do other author events and things as well.
Yeah, so we're very excited. We don't host them in the shop anymore ourselves. We support the local library, and then next Wednesday, sort of like everyone's going back to events. So we're very excited. Amanda Hampson's new book Love Birds comes out. So we're supporting that launch here at the Avalon Community Library. And it's so fantastic. She's a good friend of ours. She's a fabulous example of like a local author that when people discover her in the shop here at the same time, hug her because they just love her books. And I think how fantastic as an author, I like to have
that is amazing.
That connection with the reader that you've meant so much, that your words and your imagination and creativity has made such an impact on.
That is very true. I know that that's very special, getting an email or a message or something as well, because sometimes as an author you think, as I said, I don't really do, I don't do anything that important. And, there are so many more very valuable jobs.
Yeah.
But you do, and you forget that until someone does, tell you that your book has affected them in some way and really helped them get through a rough patch or something like that. I'm looking forward to reading Amanda's book, Love Birds. It looks fantastic, and I love the cover. The cover looks awesome.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. And I know as well as, because I did have a stalk on your website, I know as well as author events, you've got a few book clubs that you run.
Yeah.
How do they go and what's your...
So we've been running the kids one. Danica's been running Hooked on Books, which is aimed at primary
great title
readers. Hooked on Books, that was her idea. So that's been running over 5 years now. And then the kids that graduated from that have moved on to the next chapter, which is our teen book club.
Yeah, awesome.
And then my husband runs a blokes book club.
I saw that. That's good.
That's right. And that's been amazing too. And then Danica has started an adults one and it's run every 6 weeks, called No Time to Read Book Club. So
they are awesome names for book clubs too. And I do love the blokes book club. And I think so many people can relate to the No Time to Read book club as well.
Yeah.
So making that's what I love about book clubs. I'm involved in a face-to-face one, but I also got an online book club, and it does kind of help you prioritize reading in a way, because you've got to go and talk about it. Although a lot of book clubs, other things get talked about, and that's half the fun. But it's great. I love it when bookshops are doing book clubs as well. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, do you sell anything else beside books in your wonderful shop?
Oh, we sell, and I just got my top up today, this very fancy Marvis toothpaste, which is that Italian cult brand. Once you try it, you will never go back to commercial again. That's amazing.
Bookshops and toothpaste. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one.
I'll have to show you some.
Definitely. Wow.
Yes, I'll try and move across to do a quick little...
Yeah, take us on a tour and you can show us some of the other things. Wow. I'm already intrigued.
I know. Okay, so we have our toothpaste.
Wow. Right near the Harry Potter and the kid.
Next to Harry Potter. This is like life-changing.
Look how beautiful it is.
It's really beautiful. So that is like a lemon zesty rose flavor. Oh,
and
so
I have to ask, how did toothpaste become a thing in the bookshop?
Because I'm obsessed with it, and Danica too. It's like for years, like 10 or 15 years, I've been using it. So as soon as I had the opportunity to start putting stock in the shop, I thought I am doing that toothpaste. So
I'm going to look it up. What was it called again? Marvis.
Marvis.
I'm gonna look that up. That's amazing, and it just looks so pretty. And I'm a sucker for a cover, a good cover, and so same with. But sorry, was that?
So many people come in here and go, that's really weird that you sell toothpaste. It's like, they think it's chocolate. It's like, no.
No, it's good for your teeth instead.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
right.
it. And as I was to say, I'm really, sucker for a good label of wine or anything. So that the cover is totally the cover of the toothpaste has lured me in.
The bathroom would be fantastic.
It sounds good. Now, would you like to give us a little quick tour of your bookshop? Show us anything you want to show.
That's right. Okay, well, you've seen some of our new releasey bits at the front, but I should take you up to the kids section.
I've been eyeing the new releases. I'm reading one of them and lots of the others in my to-be-read pile.
Yes. Okay, so here, the great thing about being in this shop is that we have our own little section.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Books. You can sort of see. I should put Danica and Michelle sitting there doing an important sell-in.
Hi, ladies.
So Michelle is our Alan and Unwin rep.
Hello.
I know, happy to be. I'm Rachael Johns, yes, on her virtual bookshop tour. And then, so we do a lot of we look after about a dozen schools on the Northern Beaches as well, which is fantastic. And that's where we find that having the book clubs and having run them for so long really adds that special something to not only the teacher librarians in building their collections, but also for class sets. Things. So because all our books have been road tested on teens and kids.
Yeah, you know what people love.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm just going to give if you do have Harry Potter readers in your family, which everybody does.
Yeah, exactly.
And your kids are rereading them all the time. You really need to get onto this series. Have you got
my sons are my two sons that read. I've got one that's not much of a reader. He prefers nonfiction, like your daughter. But yeah, they've both read that series, and it is awesome. Keeper of Lost Cities, isn't it?
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
And here we are in our special little teen shelves.
Oh, awesome.
We've got a couple of teen shelves. Am I walking the right way?
Yeah.
So I have to say, okay, here's our Sarah J. Maas. I'm saying that loudly so Michelle can hear. Our shelves here. That our biggest reader of that are teen boys.
Interesting. Yeah, my oldest son has read all of those as well. He's now 16, almost 17. So it was a few years ago because he was he was a big reader when he was younger. Not so much big reader now. I think they go through a stage sometimes. But I'm telling myself he'll come back. But huge. He loved them. No, you have a very beautiful shop.
I know. We're just so lucky. We've got a lot of light and a lot of because we're on the main road now with that north-facing. Oh, we've got a hedge. You can see the cars, farm people going past.
Very pretty. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple more questions before I let you go. One's more of a comment, because it was great to have Michelle from Alan and Unwin there, because I think some things people don't realise, or lots of things people don't realise about books and bookshops, is the amount of people involved in, taking a book from when it's actually submitted to the publisher to the bookshop. There's the printers, there's proofreaders, editors, and there's sales reps too. So do you want to just explain how you just discover new books through reps a bit? Sorry, I put you on the spot there.
Well, no, I think that's been an interesting impact of, COVID, is that not many reps are actually doing calls now.
Yeah.
Because they've had to rely so heavily. And so some of the businesses, some of the publishers have decided, oh, well, we're now just going to do telesales. And having done that, we missed quite a few books because reps really do make a big difference. They really are great at picking up, and they're readers themselves, so they're very good at sort of picking up little things. And the more that they spend time in your business and getting to know you, and they see the customers come in, the better they are.
They know what your customers like.
Yeah, and as an independent, your big differentiator is those hand sells, because we're 90% hand selling here. It's not like walking into a larger shop and just having a wall of books and choosing things. Like we've deliberately chosen things to recommend. So having the reps help you do that. It's fantastic.
And I think that's once again the benefit of a bookshop. You do get that hand selling and that personal touch.
But we also use Instagram a lot too, because we find a lot of things that we haven't found ourselves will pop up on other people's feeds. So that's amazing. So much stuff that we pick up online is great.
There's a massive book community on Instagram, isn't it? I mean, awe of some of the bookstagrammers and how pretty they make all their layouts of their books. I'm not like that. I can't do pretty I try, but, you know, we can't do everything.
No, you do your other things. Exactly. Like
yes, I try. So, speaking of book recommendations, what I know this is a very hard question for bookshop owners because, you know, you love, but is there one book you find yourself recommending time and time again? And this is you personally. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I do this because I think, Rachael, you exemplify a number of authors that are very adept and very good at working their social media and their marketing and really promoting not only other readers, but drawing attention to what they're doing too. That's fantastic. Yeah. Then you have people like Gary Disher who does art.
Yes.
And this book I constantly resell because I think people need to know.
What's that one? Can you hold it up again?
Okay, sorry. It's
Under the cold bright light. Now, Gary Disher wrote recently Peace. Is he the one that wrote? No, not Peace. Yes, he is.
Yes.
I met Gary Disher at the airport.
So he's an award-winning. He's actually an English teacher too. He's written like 50 books. He flies under the radar consistently.
Yeah, I agree.
And he shouldn't because
I completely agree. He's a fantastic author.
Fantastic.
It's very funny because a couple of years ago, I think it was in Queensland, just before, you know, we couldn't fly everywhere, I was at the airport landing with my publicist to go do some events, and we saw, I'm pretty sure he's with Alan and Unwin. Is that right?
He's with Text.
Text. Okay, sorry, Gary and Text. Anyway, we saw some boxes coming off the luggage, you know, carriage that said Text on them, and of course, both of us being book people, we're like, oh, and then he went and grabbed them, and then so did you know, he was with someone as well, and a publicist, and so we all had a big chat, and so we met him, and then I must admit I don't know if I'd heard of him, but I went and bought his book in the bookshop there, just while I was there, and I had a whole day and I read it, and I'm pretty sure that one was Peace.
Yes, that was the one that we were so lucky. I begged and begged that you did come and visit us so the year it came out, because the two Crims went to Barrenjoey High, which is like high school here, which he obviously he just picked the name because he said he liked the sound of it. Whoops.
Good name.
So
I'm going to go and get that book as well, because that sounds
great. It's a standalone too. So,
and that will lead us to your online presence. Do you have an online shop as well, or
Yes. So everything that we have, you can search and find online with us.
Awesome. I'm going to come and buy that from you.
Okay.
And can you just quickly before we leave? Yes. So it's just Beachside Bookshop, I think, is it .com?
Yes, that's right. So it's beachsidebookshop.com.
And you're active on Instagram too and Facebook?
Yes.
So your tags there.
Very easy. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, Libby, and having a glimpse into your beautiful bookshop. Thanks you for your time. And I hope to definitely visit soon.
We can't wait to get our hands on How to Mend a Broken Heart.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited about that one.
The covers they've done for you too. I think they're just stunning.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks everyone watching, and don't forget to go check out Libby and Beachside Bookshop on your social media and also on the website. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye, everybody.